Hello. So today, let's talk about how you can go from this to this with only a change in diffusion. Now we all kind of know that lighting is one of those subjects that's kind of a black box and somewhat difficult to learn early on. So today we're going to be taking a look at 3 different light setups: the Softbox, the Omnidirectional Lantern, and the book light, to improve your versatility in the field and hopefully improving your light setups along the way. Now, first let's go over the more common light modifiers for the YouTube crowd or the videography crowd. So softboxes really started out as a more photography-centric tool. However, as smaller continuous lights have become more prolific and less heat intensive, softboxes have exploded onto the scene. Initially, most softboxes in the videography scene were square. However, over time they've shifted to a more octagonal or circular shape. Personally, I've seen that square or rectangular boxes are better for product shots, whereas octagonal or circular boxes are better for more organic subjects, whether it's fruits, vegetables, animals, or even people. Now, a softbox's main job is to soften the light coming from a point source. Initially, this was little flashes. Now it's slightly larger continuous lights. The bigger the softbox you have, the softer the light is going to be because it's just a larger surface. Now, this isn't the softest light modifier we'll see today, and it is far more directional than its lantern brethren. However, it's still an important tool to know about, and in a lot of cases, especially on the lower end, you might be working with them. So some softboxes come with the ability to do double diffusion, which is basically just 2 layers of diffusion within the softbox itself. It actually allows for a softer quality of light, however the intensity is diminished. Some softboxes even come with gel holders, something that I find very useful. However, the ones I'm testing out today don't. Now let's talk about the omnidirectional lanterns, specifically the Lantern 90 from Aputure. Now, from the research I've done, this looks to be one of the better value omnidirectional lanterns on the market currently. It also comes with a carrying bag and an adjustable skirt, which makes it a lot more versatile than some of the other options on the market. As far as the design goes, it has a one-stop white diffusion fabric that goes over the circular shell, and it's an insanely quick modifier to set up. Now, as far as what omnidirectional lanterns are used for, well, one, they're great at acting as space lights, so they can give a large amount of soft light all over the room. You can also skirt it so it goes in a certain direction or overhead, and it works wonderfully as a fill light. The strength of an omnidirectional lantern is you get a very soft quality of light that kind of wraps around a subject nicely. Now, again, to add to the versatility, you can use the skirt to make it more directional, which makes it a very versatile tool overall. And that versatility is why you'll see this light modifier on a lot more high-end sets. So in general, what are some of the downsides of the omnidirectional lanterns? Well, unfortunately, they're pretty difficult to gel. And if you know much about lighting, you'll know that gels are used all the time to change daylight lights to tungsten lights, to colored lights, to party gels. There's a lot of stuff going on there. And unfortunately, the way Aputure specifically wants you to gel these fixtures is to wrap the outside in a gel. So basically you have to cut, shape, and tape these gels over the outside of the lantern, which is very difficult and time consuming. Another way they've talked about is making cones out of gels, putting them inside over the fixture. The one downside to this is once you've coned the gel, you can actually overlap the gel, which causes a slightly different color to come out. So that's not exactly ideal. The cone method is what I've been using in the meantime, but hopefully we'll come out with a better solution at some point. And as WRGB and bicolor lights become more prominent, this will become less and less of an issue. But as somebody who still heavily relies on gels, it's something to consider. One gripe I have in particular with the Lantern 90 is the actual white supports that make the circular design itself. They don't have any guides or supports within the fixture, so sometimes they'll end up crossing over each other or not giving equal spacing when the light is up, which kind of leaves the lanterns with some flat spots. So not ideal. Maybe in the future, Aputure could just include some loops or Velcro that they go through in the fabric itself, so the white supports don't end up crossing over or leaving flat spots on the lantern. Finally, we'll be looking at the soft light setup king, the book light. Now, this is going to be the most complex setup today, but it's going to deliver by far the softest light of any setup we've seen. Now, aside from needing some time to set this up, you'll also need some pretty powerful lights, as you're going to be reflecting and diffusing the light. So first, we'll set up a C-stand with a large bounce facing towards the subject. So this can be a bounce card, a pizza box, an ultra bounce, or even some bleached or unbleached muslin. Next, we're going to take some lighter diffusion material and set it up between the bounce and the subject at a slight angle. And last, we'll bring in a light. In this case, we're using a 200D with a Fresnel attachment on full flood. This way we can get more even light overall. However, you can really use any kind of light you want, whether it's soft or hard. You just need to make adjustments to the size of the bounce and the size of the diffusion material. The reason we can use a point source in this case is because we're taking that point source, blowing it up to the size of the bounce material with bringing the light forward or backwards, and then reflecting it through diffusion. So it not only increases to the size of the bounce material, but then it goes through an even larger layer of diffusion so that the light source becomes even more broad. Now, the final technique is definitely going to take some more time than the other setups, and it's going to require some more input light, but it's going to be a result that just can't be beat as far as softness and quality of light goes. This is a technique that's used all the time in cinematography by people from the very low end to the very high end. It really is a universal technique that's great to know and kind of have in the back of your head, even if you don't use it all the time. There are so many light setups, diffusions, and modifiers. If you have a unique lighting setup or any questions about what we went over today, let me know down below. I'd love to have a conversation about it. All right, that's it, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.